Arizona basketball gets a much-needed win in the first round against Akron, and there is a much tougher road to hoe ahead.
You are Locked On Wildcats, your daily podcast on the Arizona Wildcats. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for keeping it Locked On Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. Locked On, your team every day. This episode is brought to you today by 5 Hour Energy. Head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from. Need one now? Grab a 5 Hour Energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. Stock up today and stay energized. All right, Arizona basketball gets a much-needed win against Akron, and this was a game that was not necessarily as easy as the final score indicated. The first half was somewhat annoying, actually, and you can just kind of tell Arizona had 12 turnovers and was 0 for 5 from the field. That is not generally good, and against a really, really good team, that will probably not get it done. That is something that is annoying. But in the second half, Arizona obviously took control, and a big reason why are some of the players we're going to talk about. We're also going to talk about the Big 12, or we're going to talk about the Big 12 and how it's done. We're going to talk about a lot of different things. All right, now the first thing, though, is we need to talk about is Arizona came out in the second half, and they did really, really well. The big part of it, too, is that when you look at Arizona, the first thing that you know is that this is not necessarily a team that is just going to overwhelm you from a talent perspective. Their players have to play well, and if their players play well, then Arizona is going to be in pretty good shape. And in the first half, the guys that did play well, the ones that you needed to play well, Jaden Bradley and Trey Townsend. It still feels really weird to say that, but both those guys played really, really good basketball. And I think, again, that's a big part of it. Jaden Bradley was absolutely fantastic. He finished, you see his final stat line, but he had 11 points early. He also led the team. He orchestrated everything they need, and he made an open three to start the game. Not only did he do that, he was also the guy that it just came fairly easy for him. Now, again, he was going against a point guard that was somewhat overmatched, and I think it's easy to say that he was somewhat overmatched. That was a big part of it, but he did really well. And then we got to talk a lot about Trey Townsend. Trey Townsend was fantastic in this game, and I think you got to start wondering: is March Trey a thing? And I've said this: if Trey Townsend goes off again, then I'm going to say my bad, Trey, if Arizona wins that. Now, again, this was obviously a tough season for Trey Townsend, but overall, though, he did some pretty darn good stuff. And I think it's easy to look at Trey and say, why didn't you do this earlier? But at the same point, you can also say, well, you know what? He did it when he's doing it when it matters. He's getting rebounds. He had a putback dunk that I don't think that anybody could have foreseen. And he also got he was just making plays easier for people, and he was showing a real emphasis out there that you just haven't really seen before. The other thing, too, that watching this team, you also know that Caleb Love is a lightning rod. Obviously, people have a lot of opinions about Caleb Love and about where he is. I've always liked Caleb Love. I've always thought that he's got kind of a raw deal. But overall, Caleb Love played his game. He didn't try to force anything that wasn't there. And I think he knew that this was a team that, they didn't necessarily need it. And they did just, they were able to do just that. They didn't need it. But he got, again, 4 or 9 from the field, 7 rebounds, a couple of assists. That was winning basketball, and the winning basketball that he's played. And he played really good defense as well. And that's, like I said, that's what you need out of Caleb Love. Caleb's got a lot of talent. We all know that Caleb's got a lot of talent. He's just got to play within himself. If he plays within himself, then Arizona is going to do very, very well, because there's going to be a game when you need him to be able to drop 25, 30 points. We all know that. We've all seen that. We all know that Caleb Love is going to need to do that at some point, and he doesn't need to do it yet, but he played really good ball. Now, there were, I think, some concerning points in this game, and I think the turnovers again is something that Arizona just can't. You just can't look past. You can't forget about, and I think it's frustrating from an Arizona fan perspective why this continues to happen. Why are you turning the ball over? And again, they're careless. You just don't get it. I mean, they're not being forced. A lot of times, this was a team that this were a team that. You're just like, okay, what are you doing here, man? And that's what's, I think, frustrating about Arizona is that there's just moments, there's just brain farts where you're like, okay, why? And how did this happen? And then half the time, it ends up in a player going the other way for a dunk. I mean, because, again, these are pick six turnovers. And that's something that if you're Arizona, you just can't have happen. And they continue to happen, time and time again. You're able to get away with it against Akron because Akron sucks. But if you, in the next round against Oregon, probably not going to get away with that. So, that's something to certainly keep in mind. Now, we're going to talk about, a little bit of that look ahead because this is going to be a very, very fascinating game for, I think, for Arizona. And there's a lot that I think that you can really look at. But before we get into any of that, there's something that we got to discuss. Nissan, my friends, Nissan. All right, now you might say to yourself, Mike, what can you tell me about Nissan? First and foremost, I have a Nissan, and we're all about the stats because numbers don't lie at Nissan. And when it comes to the all-new Nissan Armada PRO-4X, the numbers are on MVP level with the ability to tow up to 8,500 pounds. It can literally carry the entire team plus the gear wherever you need to go. This is a great spot. It's powered by the twin-turbo V6 engine, delivering the strength and performances to handle highways, back roads, and everything in between. And with the room up to 8 people, the Armada Pro 4X is built for big cruise. Again, big adventures and even bigger memories. Whether you're exploring off trails or doing anything like that, check it out. Take your adventure to new heights at the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X. Learn more at nissanusa.com. And 5-hour energy, my friends. 5-hour energy. Now, you might be watching some of these games and saying to yourself, man, I just need something to be able to stay up for. What can I stay up for? Well, 5-hour energy is going to help you in a big way. Daylight savings is snuck up on all of us again. If you're feeling the lost hour of sleep, 5-hour energy is your back. The extra sunshine means more time for fun, but sometimes you need a little bit of boost to power through. Again, whether you're staying up late watching the NCAA tournament or squeezing in a round of golf, they're going to be right there. Now, here's the cool thing. Basketball. I want to watch as much basketball as possible because I don't have a life, but I also sleep too much. So 5-hour energy can help me out. Head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from, including watermelon, the blue raspberry, and peach mango. Peach mango. And you can build your own 12-pack or 24-pack delivered right to your door. Need one now? 5-hour energy at your local grocery or convenience store. They're everywhere. Stock up and stay energized. Check it out. Again, thank me later on this one. 5-hour energy. Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. I am your host, Mike Luke. All right, now, Arizona, my friends. Arizona is now we got to look ahead. They're going to play Oregon. Watching that game with Oregon against Liberty made my eyes bleed. Liberty has a bunch of players out there that look like me. That's not going to get it done against a good team, and it was bad. But Oregon also has talent. I like Dana Altman a great deal. Dana Altman is from Crete, Nebraska. That means a lot to me. Now, the first thing with them that is, I think you got to say is how good are they? And they're kind of a Jekyll and Hyde team. You've got a player like a Nate Biddle who can stretch the court, who can shoot threes, can do a lot of different things. But at the same time, he's also it's not like he's indefensible. And I think that, I think Henry Vasar is going to be able to do more than a good enough job on him. I think Henry Vasar will acquit himself well in that situation. But again, that's not an easy game. That's not an easy. It's not an easy situation for him. March Trey Townsend's going to have to be big against Brandon Angel. Brandon Angel is a good basketball player, but I don't know that anybody's looking at Brandon Angel and saying that, that's a really tough guy that Arizona can't deal with. Brandon Angel again is. Trey Townsend's got to be March Trey in that situation, and if he's March Trey, then I think you're going to be in a good spot. Arizona's got to be able to win that one, though. Arizona's got to be able to. He's got to be able to continue to play well. And if he continues to play well, then guess what? You're going to be in a good spot. KJ Lewis has to play better. KJ Lewis was not good against Akron, and it was some of the some of the same issues where you're shooting threes that they want you to shoot. That's just not a recipe for success. And not only is that not a recipe for success, that can get you beaten pretty quickly. The other thing too is you're going to have to continue to get a good game out of Caleb Love. And if you get a good game out of Caleb Love in this one, that's what you need, though. He's got to be able to get to the basket. He's got to be able to shoot threes, and he's got to play overall very well. The step up in competition is going to be immense. There's going to be a huge difference now going on, and Arizona's going to have to bring it. It'll be interesting to see exactly what the what the spread in this one is. We will find out, but Arizona's going to have to win this game, and and this is one of those ones where it's kind of like by any means necessary. Win this game, and I think that you'll, like I said, I think you'll be in a little bit better shape. But also on the backcourt, you've got a guy in Jaden Bradley. Jaden Bradley's got to continue to play well. If Jaden Bradley plays well, then Arizona's chances increase exponentially, because Jackson Shellstad's good, but Jackson Shellstad's also not. I mean, he's kind of been up and down this year. I think a lot of people expected him to make that next leap, and he has just not made that next leap. And, that's something that I think a lot of people were hoping would happen, and that has just not happened. Now, we're also going to preview a little bit about what's going to be interesting about this game, because there's something, too, that I think is going to be a very underrated aspect to all of this. Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. I am your host, Mike Luke. All right, now the next thing that we need to talk about a little bit is who is that X factor in this game? And KJ Lewis, that's going to be your X factor. When Arizona's playing really, really good ball, KJ Lewis is making plays. He's getting into the paint. He's shooting jumpers. He's making three-point shots, or not making three-point shots. He's not taking three-point shots, but he's also playing good defense. He's being a good facilitator. He's doing things to help you win basketball games. When he plays that well, when he plays that way, Arizona's a really tough team to beat. When he doesn't play like that, then guess what? Arizona can be beaten, and Arizona can be beaten pretty easily. They need a good KJ Lewis, and if KJ Lewis plays well, Arizona plays well. He's usually a good barometer of things. The other one, too, is Carter Bryant. Carter Bryant is a matchup problem for a lot of different teams out there. And the reason that Carter Bryant is because Carter Bryant's a problem. Like I said, Carter Bryant is a player that you look at and you're kind of like, all right, he's probably going to go off to the NBA at this point, and it is what it is. But you need to utilize him. I can't have a game where Delly's playing more in the first half than Carter Bryant. I just can't have that, period. I need Carter Bryant to be that, because from a shot blocking perspective, from a 3-point perspective, Carter just brings something that nobody else really on the team does. Plus, Carter's just getting better. Tommy generally has a really quick hook with Carter. But, at the same time, I think you need Arizona needs Carter Bryant to be an All-American type force. I realize he's only a freshman, but he's also the most physically gifted player on the team. He's the kind of guy that you're like, all right, next season, probably going to be in the NBA, so let's utilize you. He's got to play a lot. This can't be a Delly situation. As much as I like Delly, this can't be a spot where Delly is playing twice as much as Carter in the first half, or whatever the case may be, unless Delly's making threes. If Delly's going to be out there, then I'm totally cool with it. If he's going to make threes, totally cool with it. But Delly's got to make threes. If he doesn't, that's going to be an issue. All right. We're gonna break this down matchup by matchup tomorrow. Getting everything in there, because again, this is a game, like I said, Arizona's got to win this game. You win that one, you're most likely going to get Duke, but Arizona's got to win this game. If Arizona wins that, then you take your chances in the Sweet 16 at any point, and you kind of see exactly how that does play out. But on that note, appreciate you all making Locked On Wildcats your first listen of the day. Listen to the postgame show. I'm your host, Mike Luke. Bear down, back the A, Locked On Wildcats, your team every day.